Being organized has provided me with life lessons that have proven to be invaluable and priceless.
Organized.
Good morning, YouTube. Tomorrow, Sunday, August 20th, 2023, I'm hosting an organization summit. We're going to have a little lecture where we learn things. We're going to have a workshop. My job was to finish my slides before then, and I'm working on that. But I wanted to take a quick break to give you an idea why you might want to come to a workshop like that, because it doesn't sound that sexy. But if you learn what happens on the other side of organization, how it changes your life, and I thought, having faced the question, like, why are we doing organization next? We did anti-fragile mindset. We did critical thinking. We did goal setting. Why is organization a topic? In my estimation, organization is one of those skills that can help change your life for the better. It can also help you fend off bandits. It can help you defend your rights. It's a keystone, if you will, in the archway of freedom that holds everything together. And I think too few of us were schooled on it. We learn a little bit about it. Like, I had ad hoc organization skills through high school, through college. It was when I found out my college degree wasn't going to employ me.
It's a joke.
And I started to run my own business that I needed organization skills. So I learned a methodology. So we're going to bring a methodology to the fore tomorrow. I wanted to provide you today with a really strong example of how you might find organization useful, or at least how I have found organization to be a real benefit. So 2 questions that drove me to make this video to kind of let you guys know about tomorrow's conference were, one, someone remarked on my ability to organize and recall information, and I felt like saying, hey, I'm in the middle of creating a presentation on that. One, someone said, with regard to my organization and recall skills, I don't know how you do it. And that's the exact reason we're going to have this mindset seminar tomorrow on organization and focus on that specifically across a wide spectrum of uses in life. It's not all just about clean your room or get your notes organized. It's about inner peace. It's about outer tranquility. It's about the yin and yang of your environment being in sync with what you're thinking. So learning how to organize things, to marshal information, to bring it to your defense if you need to in life is going to be one example, but there are many, many examples we're going to talk about. So the question arose, why organization as the Mindset 2 seminar? We just covered goal setting. What does organization have to do with goal setting? Well, the first thing is it's an underserviced area where we all have a need to be organized, but no one's really taught us a nice, easy 3-step method we could use to get started, to turn any chaos into something that's organized, to take anything you think is impossible and maybe map it to reality in a very possible, realistic way. We don't know until we process things. That's part of organization, is the input, processing, and output. The output is the tranquility. The processing might mean you got to throw some stuff away or clean some stuff up or mark some notes or these sort of things, little reminders. So we're going to get to all that. But today I wanted to bring you a quick example of how years ago, 20 years ago, as a matter of fact, I found these skills to be highly useful in a personal intellectual self-defense situation. So it's not just like organize your house and all that stuff's nice, but every now and then you might have a crossroads and it says over here, you have to lose your integrity and go along with something that might not be right, something that doesn't agree with you. Or over here, you can be organized. You can marshal the evidence. You can march forward. And though it may not lead you where you think you're going, I argue when you take steps with integrity, wherever you are down the road is a good place to be. So organization skills can especially help you maintain your integrity, and that's value to your character in this game. So the skill of being organized is something that's mysterious and eludes a lot of people, but for me personally, it opened up a door of liberation that I've been enjoying for the past 20 plus years. And that organization skill is something that you can pass to others as you learn and practice it into the world. Other people who are on the upward level up type of trajectory, they can take notice. Organization skills can help you learn to stand up for yourself. So here's part of my story. 20 years ago, I had a book come into my life called Getting Things Done. I learned how to get things done. I integrated this. We'll talk about this tomorrow at the seminar. Now, for the next part of the story, I'm going to have to break out the book cam here. This was my first production, Project Constellation. I have other films I did, 9/11 Synchronicity. It's a podcast I did. I'm looking for this right here. And he doesn't. The Monopoly guy doesn't have a monocle. Look at that. 2020 hindsight, censorship on the front line was a documentary. It came out in 2010. And the case that it's about is what I want to show you. That's what I brought for you as show and tell today. So 2020 hindsight was a filmed interview about my court case, my whistleblowing under the federal Sarbanes-Oxley statute. And that court case went on from 2004 to 2007. So it took about 3 or 4 years out of my life, I had to be highly organized, not to blow the whistle. Well, yeah, you have to have your evidence and your ish together to blow the whistle in the first place. So there's a long line of triggering events that happened before I actually blew the whistle. But what you're going to see in these documents is I went up against a multi-billion-dollar company with a multi-billion-dollar law firm. I held my own against them. I proved my evidence in court. I'm going to show you the transcript because none of the things I'm about to show you could have been possible with my high school education, my college education. It was my entrepreneurial education that made me get organized enough that I could actually stand my ground. And in my case, be an effective whistleblower. The system's not perfect. I might have been playing in a rigged game. I'll leave it to you to judge to see if I held my own here. So this document right here is about 300 pages. And this is the assessment that I had provided to the Securities and Exchange Commission about my employer, who was selling to Fortune 500 companies, publicly traded companies, a piece of congressionally mandated software, which had a back door in it, which put each of these publicly traded companies at risk for blackmail, for money laundering, and all sorts of other things. I was seeking to bring that to the awareness of people who would protect the public and keep those investors from being ripped off. This is what you have to do to get the first step. Because once I blew the whistle, I was fired in retaliation. You'll see through the paperwork, they admit in court that they retaliated and fired me. There's supposed to be protections against the law. You don't get this education until you get organized enough to go up against them, until you marshal some evidence to find out how the system really works. So this was the opening salvo. This is my complaint. This is my evidence. This is everything that I had that I was sending to the United States Department of Labor, Securities and Exchange Commission, investigative journalists, people I thought ought to know about these things. I wasn't personally looking for, hey, pay me some money. What I was personally looking for is for justice to be done, for the whistleblower protections to actually protect whistleblowers and actually prosecute the criminals. Unfortunately, I learned through my process that is not how the world works. Turns out the Schoolhouse Rock version of life, the 3 branches of government, there might also be some people like the owner of this company who fund those branches of government. The owner of the EMC Corporation that I sued, because it's now owned by Dell. So back then, it was founded by a billionaire named Richard Egan, who was the biggest fundraiser for Dick Cheney, and he was also U.S. ambassador to Ireland when I brought this case to the federal authorities. So let's go through, what do you have to do after that? Well, you have to be able to organize the evidence into a 300-page document proving your case, and then you can move forward. And then if you want to go to court, you have to read something like this. You have to be organized, and you have to have good recall of things. These are the federal rules of civil procedure. And it's probably, let's see how many pages we got here. 126. Well, there's a whole bunch of procedures and precedents in this binder that I made. But you have to know this to go to court. And thankfully, I read the rules of engagement, and I was able to call my opponent's witnesses as my own witnesses as soon as I was done testifying. They objected, and I was organized enough to say, no, Judge, here's the rule. It says if they're in the courtroom, I can call them as my witnesses. Then they would have to impeach their own witnesses to get them to say something against me. So that worked out well. Reading something and being able to organize your notes and recall it on the scene, because you don't have a lawyer. I was pro se in my case. So I have to remember to object. And I also have to know where to find the rules that I'm objecting about or trying to enact through the trial. So that's my end so far, right? That's a little bit of organization. That's a little bit of, you got to marshal some evidence. Now, once you go to court, you have to state your case. So I have to state my case. I write a big document, and then you have to bring all your exhibits. So here's the exhibits I brought for my case, and they are just as numerous and copious and actually better documented and more substantial than what my former employer had brought. And look, there's a volume 2. Oh, it's even bigger and longer and uncut. No, it's a South Park movie. But you have to be able to organize things in order to, in my case, I could have taken the money and done some illegal things. In my case, I could have taken the money and done some illegal things. For me, it was easier to be organized, to cite the step-by-step. As I brought this to management's attention and they tried to say, hey, don't be like a tenor at the top of the Empire State Building singing at the top of your voice. That's a direct fucking quote, by the way. So these things came out in trial because I had evidence of them. Now, let me show you what happens next. They bring to the table this. And this is this is hefty. This is $1 billion law firm response. And I'm not doxing them right here, the specifics. There's the law firm, but I'm not going to dox the lawyers who worked on it. They seem to be Nice fellas. So, exhibits. They throw a bunch of exhibits. They're like, we can prove our case, and here's a whole bunch of exhibits. Okay, good. What else they got? Let's see. Here's more exhibits. They got a volume 2 on this. Or actually, no, wait, hold on. This is their opposition research. So when you sue a billion-dollar company, they're going to go out and dig up everything on you. Everything that's known to the public. Here it all is. Project Constellation, my first publication back in 2006. Boom, they got it right here. It's in their inventory, right? So they're going to go through and find all the things that you've done, and that's on there. So that's pre-hearing, right? So they got this opposition research, and they got their evidence on their side. So moving forward, first off, you have to respond to all this stuff. You can't just accept it. You don't accept these moves. You got to contest stuff. They're going to try to motion to dismiss all this stuff. You have to be able to work through that and keep going. If you're going to prove your case, it's not just organization skills. It's not just marshaling of data. It's also looking at the bigger picture and knowing how to pace yourself, because it's a war of attrition. They have billions of dollars. You do not. Do you want the next 10 years of your life to be like the last 4 years? That's the type of stuff they'll say to you. I also got an offered settlement before the hearing. So this is all pre-hearing. And there's another several boxes of this stuff. I'm just showing you guys like the gist of, you do this, they do this. This is how it comes together. This is what actually happens. Because organization skills, they're not just like for decluttering your house. Sometimes they're for maintaining your integrity, being able to stand up for your values and your rights in a place that makes it very hostile and predatory to do so. To retaliate against whistleblowers and then to prove it in court and still have nothing happen. I mean, that was telling me it was corrupt a long time ago. Now you guys see how corrupt it is today. It's a lot easier to see. I didn't have the fortune to learn that slowly over time. Now, we have a trial. So then there's a transcript, and they got all their stuff that they want to say about the trial. And here's the transcript. Right? So it takes a little bit more organization, because you got to respond to all the stuff they said about the transcript, and you got to go through. But let me just show you, since I do have it on a table. I was moving this stuff around while I was doing some organization, inspiring myself for tomorrow's lecture. And I thought, let me show you cover page. It was on my birthday. So I blew the whistle on my birthday in 2003, October 24th, 2003. My court case was 3 years later. And then they took another 9 months to come to a decision. But let's go to the end of the court case, the end of the trial. So I'm bringing you into the transcript. It's 927 pages. This is from page 910. So 3 days into the trial, everybody's done their testimony. I've testified. I've been cross-examined. They've testified. They've been cross-examined. This is at the end. This is page 910. I'm trying to put more evidence on the record than what I've already done. Here's what the judge has to say. Judge Sutton says, "So I don't see the need. If there was an issue raised as to whether those statements were made and the witness had testified differently than you and wanted to impeach that testimony, it'd be a different matter. But your testimony," he's talking about my testimony, "is uncontradicted on those points." And I say, "My concern was, Your Honor, there was a document, I believe, in evidence called 30-day goals, and without anything other than my testimony to impeach that, I wasn't sure of the status." So they had said, because they had that whole hit piece document, they're like, "Oh, he was a bad salesperson." I have written testimonials from the CFO of the company that I worked for. I had awards. I was just trying to put that stuff on the record so that their false claims didn't continue forward. So I made that concern. Judge Sutton says, "Your testimony, provided that is credible, carries the day. It meets your burden of proof. Your burden of proof is to prove facts by a preponderance of the evidence. There's no evidence on the other side of the scale for me to weigh." The multi-billion-dollar company and the multi-billion-dollar law firm has given the judge nothing on the scale to weigh. I'm the only one that's providing hardcore evidence of my claims. They're not disproving my claims. I don't even think they're there to disprove my claims. I think they're just there to let me vent, because they know nothing's going to happen. So I say, okay. The judge says no one's contradicted that. And then I say, but as far as my sales performance, that was still left up in the air after Mr. Carroll's cross-examination of me. I have an award. I can't make copies of it, but I did bring it to show you. Then he says, what was the award? We put it on the record. Judge Sutton says, the complainant has brought it to the bench, a very impressive glass, very heavy, almost crystal weight plate glass plaque on a pedestal, and it's etched And it says, Silverstream with a little trademark registered in a circle, awarded to Rich Grove in recognition of your outstanding sales contributions in 2000. You can't make a copy of this, but can you make a photocopy? Then I said I would take a picture. Judge Sutton says, well, to the extent that there is any evidence on the record or testimony from which one could draw a negative inference concerning his performance at Silverstream or his competence while employed at Silverstream, this would tend to rebut the negative inference. So it would be admissible for that purposes because they tried to say it's not admissible, and it was entered into evidence. So when the judge says in response to me trying to put more evidence on the record that I don't need to, and that the other side has not provided evidence to contradict mine, that's as well organized as I could be. Anything that happens beyond that is outside of my control. And it really was, because I did not win that case. And that's not how the law works as far as presenting evidence and the justice scales being equal. All right, so now we've covered pre-trial and at trial, and let's look at what kind of organization skills you might need post-trial in a situation where you're a whistleblower. Here, look, they sent me another fun book. This one is, let's see, that's volume 2. It's a real fun book with a whole bunch of exhibits, other exhibits they want to enter in. So they come with a whole boatload of boxes on a wheel cart into the courtroom, right? They want to throw the kitchen sink, and they have billions of dollars to be organized up to the nth degree. You're a person defending yourself, defending your rights in court by yourself, no lawyer, no like paralegals, there's no one else helping. So you have to be organized to be able to go into a situation like that and even have a chance of making it to the playing field, let alone winning. Now, real quick, because I do have it and I am organized, I want you to check this out. This is a piece of marketing that came from my employer. This is something that I would hand out to clients. This is a piece of marketing material. Go directly to jail if you don't buy this software. Oh, look, it's a CIO's nightmare. You don't have this software. You go to jail. Go directly to jail. Like, these guys were straight up gangsters. I did not like working for these guys. I did not approve of their sales tactics. I thought it was all very poor. And this group of folks is who I sued. And I trained my clients on how to blow the whistle under this regulation. So when I went to my employer and I said, I have verified from a client at Tyco International and from the Securities National Association of Securities Dealers, NASD, that there's a backdoor in this software and that you're putting all these clients at risk, and you're asking me to go out and sell it to them. And they also asked me to sign forged documents. They also tried to frame me by billing customers in a way that I didn't even know this was going on. So as I start to bring these things to the management, the attention of management, even though I'm well organized, they don't like it. And the retaliation ratchets up. If you don't know how to organize that information and defend yourself, you could lose your career without a decent fight. I had an honest fight from my side. I don't think it was a fair playing field, but at least I got the fight. I got that experience. I got that learning under my belt. Whereas I think a lot of other people just are forced to say, turn their head and cough because they're demoralized, because they don't know how to get their ish together. They don't know how to make an argument, marshal some evidence, and go on to the field of battle and prove a point. Or to at least say, what do you got on your side? Let's ante up. Let's show each other our cards. All those types of poker playing metaphors. So the gist is, if you learn how to be your own boss, it's a whole lot easier. They don't teach us that in school. You're not going to do that sort of thing while you're unorganized. So if you learn some organization skills and you don't like your job, or you don't like what you're doing, or you're not happy, at the very least, be a lot more organized. It's a lot more serene. And moving forward, there's a lot of other places that you can check out, a variety of people teaching you the various elements of organization. So tomorrow's lecture and workshop, it's not going to teach you everything you need to know, but I do hope it teaches you enough to start to get started and to continue learning about it for the next 20 years of your life, as I've done for myself. Now, technically, I learned my organization skills before I went to court because I had to use them by the time I went to court. So don't wait till the last minute to learn your organization skills. Get yourself, like my book, my copy of David Allen's Getting Things Done, it's 20 years old. It's all dog-eared and beat and marked up. I mean, this is one of the most valuable books I've ever read. And tomorrow's seminar isn't specifically about his method or anything. I do have a flow chart I want to show you from this book that I think is very powerful. But it's not about like one specific system. It's about finding a system. So you're no longer trying to get organized for something important in your life in an ad hoc, which means make it up every time you go and do it differently type of manner. That's not efficient. That's not effective. We deserve better. We're not given this information by schooling. So we're going to get it ourselves on a Sunday seminar, Sunday, August 20th from noon to 4 p.m. And I do have this is the invite. No, wait, that's the wrong page. Sorry. Wrong invite. Let me click this. Autonomy, mindset 2, level up. Let's get the organization going on. It's an easy 3-step method. Sunday, August 20th from 12 p.m. Eastern till 4. I got a couple different graphics for you. I don't think that's the thing keeping you back, though. More likely, you need to know what's in it. What do you get? What happens? universityofreason.com/mindset-2. And you need a www before that if you're going to get to the site. The workshop all access includes you get the lecture, the live Q&A, the breakout sessions, the community discussion, unlimited replay of the lecture workshop. You get Mindset 1, which was awesome. It was anti-fragile thinking and goal setting, something you need to be getting organized about. So sharpen your organization and productivity skills. Learn how to get a fulcrum and build a longer lever for yourself through education. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And last but not least, in January, when we ran the first Mindset workshop, we gave away an autonomy scholarship, and it was so successful, that campaign, that we're bringing it back for this fall's season 10 of autonomy. We only offer the scholarship opportunity twice per year, so this is your single chance to get into the workshop and see if season 10 might be right for you. And with that, now, you're not going to be a pro se litigant whistleblower against the federal government and multi-billion-dollar entities, but the skills we're going to break open tomorrow might allow you to do that. Thanks for today's short journey, considering this example of how organization might help you stand your ground and assert your rights in situations where otherwise there's no one else around. I'll see you tomorrow at the Mindset 2 seminar. We're going to get organized. It's a free event for the lecture. If you want to stay for the workshop, that's up to you. Plenty of value to be had on both sides. I'll see you there. Thank you.
I gotta get organized. You know, little things like my apartment, my possessions. I should get one of those signs that says one of these days I'm gonna get organized.